Welcome back to The Line. This week, KRQE reported that UNM officials weren't upfront about how much a golf trip to Scotland cost the public. This is an ongoing story, and just the latest development, Dan, and one of the latest wrinkles is Paul Krebs had to go to Chowkey Abdallah, the acting president of the university, and confess that, in fact, there weren't three folks who had their trip paid for.
Right.
And, you know, he wasn't exactly truthful to the folks at UNM. I'd like to get your sense of this right off the top. You're around athletics.
Yeah, I think this is, you know, with the declining attendance, with the amount of money they're losing out of athletics, with, you know, just yesterday they announced that they're going to raise tuition on graduate students.
Right.
First of all, it violates the anti-donation clause to give this kind of money out to do that kind of thing.
Clearly.
To not remember that you did this when the first Larry Barker interview came along. And listen, I've been on the other end of that camera from Larry Barker.
Yep.
You remember everything when Larry Barker knocks on your door. To not disclose that. And we got to remember, we still don't know. I mean, there's multiple things out there. We don't know where the $50,000 is from the ATM card from the basketball coach that disappeared.
Right.
We don't know. They reported this deal as a basketball tournament in Ireland. I mean, this whole thing reeks of everybody knew that this shouldn't have been done, and they still went forward. The foundation had nothing to do with it.
That's right.
So I think that, you know, as I said before, I think clearly there's a total, as the NCAA would say, there's a total lack of institutional control when it comes to this, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the regents have to bear some of this responsibility. I mean, for this to keep going on and for them to not get their hooks in this and say, we're going to stop,
Right.
I think at some point, it's interesting to see that the state auditor is now on this.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it's not going to be much longer before the Attorney General says that he's going to look into this, because at the end of the day, if any other New Mexican, anybody else would have said, hey, look, I took $69,000, I took some friends on a trip, I think it would have done good for the city or the school or whomever, and then we found out we shouldn't have done it, we got someone to write an anonymous $25,000 check, we'd still be on our way to jail.
That's right.
And I think there's going to be some serious changes coming down the pike. And if there's not, the students, the athletes, the citizens, the taxpayers, the legislators, the governor, everybody should be in uproar if there's not changes.
Fair point. Fair point. Let me touch on something Dan just mentioned that chaps me a little bit as well. In that this $25,000 anonymous donation, that's just not going to cut it in a lot of circles. That's not transparent. That's not anything. You know, does it make a difference to you whether we know who this person is or not?
Yeah, to be honest, it doesn't make a great deal of difference to me to know who the person is
After the fact.
I think the issue here is actually, you know, what happened before that. That's all well and good that somebody stepped in to try and make it right, but it's so not right leading up to that point. It really doesn't obviate the need for a closer look at what Krebs was doing, what his department was doing. And I think part of what's really challenging about this is that many people may not realize that the university really does have systems and structures set up to allow fundraising activities, potentially, although I'm not sure that it would go through, but potentially fundraising activities of this sort, and that's called UNM Foundation. You know, the UNM Foundation doesn't deal in taxpayer funds and public funds. It's set up specifically to allow the university to participate in the kind of fundraising activities that would help to support athletics, would help to support, of course, the academic mission of the university. And for whatever reason, Krebs decided to walk around those guys, to do it differently. And
That's an odd one, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's been around a long time. He knows the difference between using money from the athletics department and the foundation.
So for me, it raises this question of like potential, you know, speculation, but did the foundation say, no, we're not going to pay for this? Or we don't pay for this sort of thing? Does the foundation have policies that would have prevented this and Krebs went ahead anyway? Total speculation. But at this point, that's a lot of what we got. Because right now, it just looks bad. And as Dan said, it looks like the misuse of taxpayer funds.
It's a lot of money, Lieutenant Governor. It's a ton of money. When you think about, they broke down in the reporting, some of the individual folks, it cost them over $9,000 individually to go on this Scotland trip, which I can't fathom at all. What do you make of this? I mean, let me say this. Let me ask you this. Folks have a lot of wiggle room in this world to raise money in lots of different ways, and sometimes it takes a little spending to get a little back in this world. We're not naive about how fundraising works. Does this meet your criteria of money well spent to get money back? Does it work in this capacity?
There's still a lot of speculation about what was the return on the dollar, even if you thought it was all right, which it wasn't. But, you know, it's the old saying, it's not about the crime, it's about the cover-up. And the fact that they weren't transparent and they weren't, that Krebs did not come forward. But let me just say, I think this is emblematic of a bigger problem, and that is the governance of the university in general. The athletic department, from time to time, has been able to run deficit budgets, has been able to hire
Time to
people.
time? What do you mean, like 10 years running?
Yeah, 10 years running.
Right.
From this 10 years to the last
From 10 years ago to now, those are the two times.
They've been able, we're continuing to pay for contracts when we fire coaches. In the meantime, they're squeezing the academics and the research arm of the university. I think the regent system needs a complete overhaul, and I think the criteria for being a regent should be thoroughly examined. Frankly, through the years, regents have been more interested in their football tickets and their basketball tickets than they've been in, paying attention to the details and the financials.
That's right.
And so I think it's symptomatic of a bigger problem.
Yep.
But it was wrong. And frankly, I think it would be tough to go to the foundation and say, could you raise us $65,000 to send
too.
our coaches and a few donors on
That's
a trip?
That's right.
I
And there's
don't
always
think-
been natural tension there, and there
Yeah.
should be between the foundation and like any university, how the money works, how it gets sort of spread. Merritt, interestingly, in the background of all of this is a lot of other things, meaning if I was on the ski team, I would be out of my mind right now. I would be losing it completely. To have been told my passion, the reason I do my thing, is now over.
The only
is 'cause
national
we have-
championship the
Right,
school's ever won.
exactly. It's amazing, isn't it? I'd be out of my mind on this, please.
I'm completely with you on that, because one thing I think we should all take a look at is college athletics are not just an opportunity for student athletes to enjoy their sport while going to school.
Right.
It's a revenue driver for the school.
That's right.
And the fact that when you think of financial mismanagement in college athletics, you think of a basketball player in a top 5 school driving an Escalade. You think of stuff like that. $69,000 for some old folks to go, and we're not even doing it right. If we're going to cheat, we need to cheat in smarter ways.
Yeah.
It's not as if there's not-
We got
Oh,
to
go
agree.
ahead,
The other thing too that we got to talk about that's got to come up at this time also is as all of this is going on, as we're talking about at the University of New Mexico. My son in the disclaimer is signed to play football at New Mexico State, so obviously we're Aggie fans. But we keep getting all this stuff. The New Mexico State, the athletics department has consistently been paying back a loan that they took from the university 7-8 years ago to get stuff done in athletics that consistently they've been writing $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.3 million check from athletics back to the general fund to pay a loan off. And then you've got this going on up the road, 2 land-grant universities that are being run completely different. And it just begs the question, like everybody around the table has said, how do you go out and raise money for any of this stuff when you've got an athletic director that can't? I mean, I don't care what anybody says. The response to saying that it was a misentry in the journal to list a Scottish golf tournament trip as a basketball tournament in Ireland.
Right.
If there's no greater smoking gun, that's the one right there.
Yep.
And so I think at the end of the day, that we have an interim president. There's going to be a new president coming in soon, whenever that is soon. I don't know, but I imagine in the next year or so. I can't believe that the AD's job is firmly safe, and if it is, people should be questioning again the regents at UNM.
We'll see how that chatter goes. As a matter of fact, Sophie, interestingly, Daniel Libet at NM Fishbowl had an interesting piece, another UNM athletics
I was just going to bring this up, yeah.
Let's go for it. And that is, we apparently have a lot of folks not paying their bills for these high-priced suites at the pit and at the football
And they
stadium.
get free trips to play golf.
And they get free, right, exactly right, and get covered
may not
by
be
an
naming
anonymous
rights.
donor.
That's unclear. That's unclear.
Right. And apparently Mr. Krebs, in his email that was obtained by a FOIA request by Mr. Libet, he's asking if anyone's been taken to court on this to get these back charges.
If they've engaged in collections activities.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the background on this, because it hasn't really been reported in the mainstream press, is that there are these box seats at the pit, and they are sold for tons of money. I guess tons is not quite the right term, but I can't remember the exact
40
amount.
grand, 40 grand.
40
plus or
grand,
minus,
40
plus or minus.
grand.
It's a lot of money.
You can buy a split on those. But what it seems has been discovered is that not only potentially people haven't paid for their box seats, but that athletics doesn't know whether people have paid, that the accounting practices are so loose.
Right.
And in part, they say it's because some of these boxes go as part of deals for sponsorship and naming rights, things like that. They've only sold 27 out of the, I think it's 44 box seats that are available, or boxes that are available. These are supposed to be the revenue generators that help pay back the cost of the pit.
Right.
And the financial controls are loose enough that athletics doesn't know if the money's been paid. They don't know if they have collections opportunities. They apparently haven't been pursuing collections opportunities. And it seems to me sort of basic. Here are the keys to your box. Where is my check?
Exactly right, Merritt. Let's follow up on that. The idea that I can see the situation. You've got a university that's hurting for money. You've got people coming forward saying, "I'd love to have a box." And then it gets kind of squishy after that, because not many folks here can just put cash in the barrel for 40 grand and be done with it. That's just not the way we roll. You got to sort of make the money work.
Just statewide, the lack of competence in administering basic programs for resources
Right.
and funds. We've just had the tax office raided by the FBI. We've got the food stamp issue.
Right.
UNM can't get back the money for its own box seats, shuts down the ski team. It makes no sense. And it's not a matter of a one-time thing, but can they operate efficiently or competently? And I think we're
right.
seeing that they can't.
That's right.
I think one thing.
Let me
I think
just-
one thing that's worth noting. I apologize. Is that as we continue to underfund higher ed, underfund our municipalities, et cetera, the human capacity to track these things potentially is degraded. We make choices within our organizations, within our state agencies, et cetera. Am I going to put money into I'm going to put effort and money into the services? Am I going to cut back on basic things like bookkeeping, controls, et cetera? And as we look at that balance, as we continue to cut funds away from these entities, we have to think about, are we wasting money in
Right.
these ways?
a
Because
good
of
point.
$69,000 go for an accountant?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
So,
Partly.
low-level
Partly.
candidates,
That's
yeah.
right. Please.
Something Dan said is really important. Who wants to be president of UNM
I
right
think
now?
so too. Right.
Who wants to? He says we may have one in a year. We may. But
Or we may
what
not.
is the quality of the person who's
That's
going
right.
to come here? And especially, we have a CFO at the University, David Harris. Where's he in all this? He's supposed to be the person who works with CREB and do all of that.
right. Falls under his
Highest
purview.
paid people in New Mexico.
Well, remember, we just, I don't know
And-
if it's come out, I don't know if we've talked, if it's come out in the mainstream media, but, longtime regent, Mr. Fortner just resigned. So,
It is out.
so you've got, as this is all, it just seems to be, as this breaks, the vice president of athletics, I guess is the title now, forgot to explain how this went down, forgot to tell them that he took people, forgot to mention that he may have violated the anti-donation clause.
Right.
Miraculously got a late night donation of $25,000 to cover the 69, even though we still don't know where the 50 grand cash is, how the 69,000 was spent, why it didn't go through the foundation. Oh, and on top of that, long-term regent Jack Fortner in the middle of the night resigns. I mean, it just seems like this thing is not lining up. And as the Lieutenant Governor said, I'm on a lot of those sports chat rooms. I mean, everything from Deadspin to the New York Times to the Washington Post has commented on this.
That's right.
So it
It's gotten
really,
out there.
it
That's
really
right.
hurts New
I
Mexico.
think we need to wrap this up, but interestingly, I love golf. I love our UNM golf courses. I love them. You go to any golf website, you can see trips to Scotland, Ireland, England, all over the place. Anywhere from 1,300, 1,400, 1,500, somewhere around there. 3 or 4 places with transportation, with hotel. You just have to get your rear end there. You know what I mean? I don't know how it came out to 69 grand.
First class airfare.
It can't be that expensive for first class, can it? I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it can.
Maybe it can be to Scotland. Maybe that's it. Anyway, that's all the time we have for that one. When we come back to the line, we'll talk about citations and arrests here in Albuquerque.